I think I've got enough to go on here to make this video, so here we go. There's a guy called Melkor that only does Rome Total War. Only does Rome Total War. And he's got 20,000 subs. And he made a video that was a bit more on the nose than I would have thought possible for him. So I left a comment teasing him a bit, and it eventually resulted in an email exchange where he said here, yes, I did get removed from the Total War Partner Program for being a Rome Total War channel, but I am fine with that. I don't cover Warhammer, so I don't need it or hold it against them. So this is a guy that is really harmless, and it doesn't cost CA anything at all to have this guy be a partner. It doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't guarantee anything. It just means that you're in a special group that's perceived as privileged, and you're guaranteed early access to free games. So it's more symbolic than anything else, really. Like, when I lost my affiliation, I didn't give a shit because all I was getting from them was free Steam keys for games that I don't give a fuck about. So it's just symbolic. It's just them saying fuck you. That's all it really is. That's all it needs to be. That's all it has to constitute. It's just a disassociation. And this guy is completely harmless. He doesn't do anything. He hasn't harassed anyone. That was the justification that was required to have me be severed, that I was harassing people, which we now know was bullshit. So that they don't even have a reason stated. Like, this guy has just gone along with it and let it stay under wraps, kept it under the radar. But here I am, just blowing it into public view. So they haven't given a reason for it. They haven't made a public statement like they did for when they terminated me. And I am asking CA to give a reason for this. I really want to know. Can you imagine what it would be? CA, please give a reason for why you've terminated this guy. We all really want to know what the reason is. Thanks. So there's no public reason given for this, but what we have here is him saying the reason. He got removed for being a Rome Total War channel. And of course, what you can figure out already what this means. He doesn't have any interest in Warhammer whatsoever. So you don't have to step out of line. You don't have to do anything wrong. You don't need to harass anyone. You don't need to be a critic. All you need to do to invoke punishment from CA is to have no intention whatsoever of covering Warhammer, because that is the ticket. That is what this operation is. They are just making as much money as possible from Warhammer and fuck everything else. There are no free rides here. Are you not here to help us sell Warhammer? Get the fuck out of here. You're done. And I was surprised that they did this, honestly, because what this shows is that they don't value this guy enough to even keep him around with his 20,000 subs for whenever they make something that isn't Warhammer that he might be interested in. This is CA saying, we think the possibility of us making anything that you're going to actually like and help us market is so low that your unhappiness with future products is a bigger threat to us. It's more financially convenient for us to just cut you out now and make sure you stay as small as possible than to risk you being affiliated with us and saying that you don't like what we are making. And they have actually recently trademarked a medieval, so Total War medieval. So that would be right up this guy's alley, you would think. Like, this guy does Rome Total War and a little bit of medieval too, I think. And they filed that trademark in, what was it, 20th of January? And he says that, let me find it. So when I made a Reddit thread publicly announcing what I've discovered here, Melkor posted on it and he said that this was a decision that was made a few weeks ago. And guess what other decision was made a few weeks ago, or what came to light a few weeks ago? CA trademarked Total War Medieval. So you know what this means, don't you? You know what this means. It means that that is going to be a shitty mobile game that none of us are going to give a fuck about. It's purely going to be to appeal to bugmen that just buy whatever shit appears on mobile. All of these people that have played Total War games earlier than, what, 3 Kingdoms of 2019, they are not going to be on board with this whatsoever, I'm telling you right now. It could not be more fucking obvious to me. So they've decided to just cut this guy off. So they're going to continue to buoy everyone else up. All the people that are willing to shill Warhammer, they're all going to be receiving the buoyance of affiliation and free games and early games, while everyone else, including people that are just totally harmless and were willing to be involved with them and are first and foremost fans of Total War, they get fucking shat on, they get spat on the face. And here's more examples of it. So this isn't the first time they've done this. They have a long history of doing this. You might remember this guy, Jetzu. He made a video called Warhammer 3 has killed Total War, I think it was called, which is pretty premonitive, if I say so myself, in light of recent events. First, Warhammer 3 gets announced, then we find out about this probable mobile game for the next historical game, and then this purge, Night of Long Knives type purge of all of the YouTubers that are a threat or possibly a threat that they don't perceive as being conducive to their ideological goals. Alright, so here's what Jetzu said, one of the earliest recipients of this purging effect. And this was describing events that happened years ago. He says, CA's creator program began favouring YouTubers that focused on Warhammer and ignored ones that played the original games, such as Prince of Macedon and myself. Channels were being promoted not based on quality, but on shilling. Shilling! And it killed my enjoyment of Total War for years. Oh man. So this is a guy that was a big fan of Total War. He was involved with them, so he was affiliated with them. They were flying him out and involving him in all of their PR stuff. And they just went cold on him really abruptly, really suddenly. Just went cold. What the hell? And then, of course, here's the other one. Prince of Macedon. So this guy is pretty much the progenitor of Total War YouTubers, Total War streamers. This guy is the original face of Total War. He started this all in 2007, 2008, 2009, around then. So he says he reached out to CA. This was 6 months ago, so he's describing what happened a year ago or so. He reached out to CA. They told me they had a glitch in the email system, and this is something these PR people always do. I've heard of this from a few people. They just say that you ended up in our spam folder. Sorry, but you ended up in our spam folder. Whoops. We just noticed. We just noticed now that you're in our spam folder. Sorry. Oops. And it's every time they say that is bullshit, as you can expect. As you can surmise. And that's why I was supposedly not getting any more content. The new contact at CA said he fixed it. So what this means is the old PR people shat the bed. They got in new people to turn over a new leaf and have a new face represent the company and remove all of that bad blood. And here's what happens. The new contact talks to him again, says they fixed it, gave him early access to stuff, and then they stopped communicating with me again. So he was meant to pick up on the fact that they were ready to just drop him for good, that they were shitting him out. And he was meant to start shilling Warhammer, and he didn't do it. He didn't start shilling Warhammer. He was honest about whether he liked it or didn't like it, and they got rid of him. They cut him off again. Holy crap. And then he observes, I never needed their support. I had the biggest Total War channel from 2008 to about 2015 or so. All of that without their support, which is entirely true. You don't get anything from these people. You're just given free games, and in return you're expected to shill. And it's meant to be a you scratch my back, we scratch yours thing. That's what this is. It doesn't help you at all otherwise. You save a little bit of money on free games. You get some early views that give you a bit of a head start in the YouTube game, a little bit of an edge, and that's it. But if you have no competition, which this guy didn't, then the sky's the limit. You don't need to appeal. You're not competing. This is the thing. They're pitting you against other YouTubers. They're making it a Darwinian fucking situation where only the fittest survive, and then they give little advantages to the people that they can control and manipulate. So whether they mean it or not, and you can probably guess if they mean it, they are turning being a Total War YouTuber into participating in the Hunger Games while they play favourites. Does this seem like a healthy situation to you? I was buried under all of it. Yep, and that's similar to over here. Killed my enjoyment of Total War for years. See this? See how sad this is? See how this is just sad? See how capitalism is just killing this franchise? I remember in my absolute state of Total War video, I said, are YouTubers and streamers responsible for the death of Total War? And while it is disappointing that Total War YouTubers seem to lie down really easily, it's really it's really just this ruthless chasing the money at the expense of all else, all dignity and passion and honesty. Honesty, like even honesty dies on the altar of profit. It's so sad. It's so sad. If they can't even be honest about whether an email got into their spam folder, gaslighting. How are they supposed to be capable of making actually good games with good gameplay? You can see how bad the situation is here. So here, we're back to Melkor, right? So here are the people that are greenlit. So these are the people that are steady. They can rely on them. They're people that they know are gonna shill the fuck out of Warhammer. No doubt whatsoever. And then, of course, Melkor, no rose. Like, he's just sitting there with a fucking thumb up his ass. Like, just a fucking third wheel. Just cocked. And then, of course, we come to this guy. So, here is the middle ground, alright? So, this is a guy that does Shogun 2, just like me. And he is still in their good graces, but that came at a cost, because here he is uploading trailers of games he doesn't give a fuck about. That's why these trailers are here. That is why he is uploading this and he doesn't give a shit about it, just like his subscribers don't. Because if he doesn't, if they think he is not solid, if they think he cannot be relied upon when the time comes, they'll axe him just like they have here. Because this is a guy that obviously doesn't give a shit about Warhammer. It could not be any clearer that this guy does not care about fucking Warhammer. Isn't this just more sad, tragic shit? Like, he doesn't care about games and he's uploading trailers of them. It's like he's an unpaid marketing intern. Just his channel is like he's got a gun to his head, and if he doesn't do what they want, he's got a gun to his head, like he's held hostage. Like, this is why I said Stockholm Syndrome in my absolute state video. A game rolls around that he doesn't give a shit about, and he just starts uploading trailers to show that he is on board, like they can rely on him. And of course, yeah, he's still associated with them. And how do I know that this guy doesn't care about Warhammer 3? How do I know he doesn't want a Warhammer 3? Because I know what he actually wants, and it's the same thing that I want. It's a game that can stand up to Shogun 2, that can follow in its footsteps and be a worthy successor, which we have not had. And you might think, oh, Three Kingdoms was good enough, Three Kingdoms was worthy of Shogun 2. And that's what this guy thought as well, because he was uploading Three Kingdoms all the fucking time. But he had the exact same realization that I had, it just took him way longer. And if you want to know what that is, just watch the start of my critique series. So which ones would it be? It would be why Total War's last success was 8 years ago. That's the first one. Second one, Total War's single entity problem. That's the second one. And then thirdly, disintegration of Total War's order of battle. That is why Three Kingdoms can never stand up to Shogun 2. And this guy knows it. He hasn't touched Three Kingdoms in fuck knows how long. He noticed, finally, eventually, took him long enough, he noticed that every battle in Three Kingdoms was the same, and that there's only a very small, limited number of ways that you can approach the game. It's extremely limited. The gameplay is extremely limited. And of course, he's back to uploading Shogun 2. Credit to him. So, he hasn't fully stood on his own 2 feet. He refuses to upload shitty Warhammer, which is inferior to the Shogun 2 he was doing for years, but he hasn't actually stood on his own 2 feet on his own and just refused to shill this Warhammer shit that he doesn't give a fuck about. And that's the tragic thing. He isn't getting anything by doing this. These videos are not getting views. He is just debasing himself by doing this. It's just sad. All this means is that if a Shogun 3 comes along, which it never will, and this is the really tragic thing, this guy's channel is nothing but a 9-year-long waiting game, an 8-year-long wait for something that is never going to arrive. There's never going to be a Shogun 3. It's never going to come. This guy is never going to get what he wants. His channel is never going to be able to proceed in the way that it's supposed to. And make no mistake, there was supposed to be a game to follow Shogun 2. It's been fucking 10 years now. This guy was supposed to get his Shogun 3 and it never came. So, and I'm in a very similar situation, as you know. But while I went over to other games and had some success there, this guy has just continued to wait. So it's not like they can just terminate him and say, you're not loyal to us. He's been waiting fucking 10 years. Jesus Christ, if they terminate this guy when he's stuck with them this long, waiting for them to make a good game for this long, they are bastards. Holy shit. They are bastards if they cut this guy off. So I don't think this guy should have to continue to shill Warhammer. I think he should be able to continue to play whatever he wants and be loyal to them and have them give him the keys to the game that finally comes along whenever it does, which it won't, and have a good relationship with him. He should be able to shit on Modern Total War all he wants. I don't know why he is shilling Warhammer 3 when he does not have any interest in it whatsoever, is never going to like to play it, and is just having his time wasted knowing that this is another Total War game that is never going to live up to Shogun 2, that is just wasting the development studio's time, wasting his time. It's just more disappointment for him. Warhammer 3, he already knows it's going to be a disappointment, and yet here he is shilling for it. It's like he's saying thanks every time he gets punched. And this is also something that I've noticed that I really dislike. All of these shill hanger-on, clinger YouTubers, they all say things like, I like Warhammer 2, I love Warhammer 2, I had a lot of fun with Warhammer 2, but you would not be able to pay them to play that shit, I guarantee it. It's so cringy. It's just something they say to remain in good graces while they wait for the game that they're actually wanting. And how do I know that the Shogun 3 is never going to come? How do I know that? How do I know that historical Total War is dead? And I'm not even saying historical Total War because that is a really needless conflation. This is a misconception. We mean gameplay Total War, we don't mean historical Total War. See all of these people that are saying they want a historical Total War? I guarantee you right fucking now, they would be on board as fuck with a Total War Lord of the Rings that has solid gameplay. I guarantee it. What do you think Manor Lords is? It's a fictional game with historical elements that is appealing to all of these people that are disillusioned with bad modern Total War gameplay. That is what that is. That is what that game will live or die on. Whether all of these people that are disappointed with Total War have their needs met with actual meaningful gameplay that's satisfying and stimulating in ways that Three Kingdoms and Warhammer and Troy never was. And how do I know that this franchise has just abandoned meaningful gameplay and is just now Warhammer cash cow? Total cash cow Warhammer is what this franchise is from now on, and you can tell that from the fact that they are now severing their ties with all of these people that are waiting for a good Total War game, and there's no point in phrasing it any other way. That is what they're waiting for. Melkor wants a fucking Rome 3 that doesn't have all of Rome 2's problems. So while Mr. Smart Donkey is waiting for a Shogun 3, a worthy successor to Shogun 2, Melkor is still waiting for the Rome 2 that never happened. He is waiting for a successor to Rome Total War that never came, that is never going to come. And CA know that. They know that they're never going to produce it, and that this guy is only ever going to just get more and more impatient and disillusioned and older and smarter, and are like, alright, fuck him, let's just kill him off right now. And something else that's really hilarious to me is that even the YouTubers that are in CA's good graces, they know that Total War is never going to come up with the goods and produce a Total War with good gameplay. That's why they upload all of these Kafka-esque meme videos instead of actual gameplay. The videos of 19 of the same unit all doing the exact same thing the whole fucking battle, just as flat as it can get. They're just basically like slim pickings riding the nuclear warhead into the fucking ground. They're just laughing in the face of the absurdity of this whole fucking situation. I love it, it's fucking great. They know it too. Do you think this is a healthy situation? And then also, he's fucking defending them for it as well. Like, look at this, he's actually trying to sympathise with his abusers. The people that took him captive and then kicked him to the curb. Does this look like Stockholm Syndrome to you? Does this give you Stockholm Syndrome vibes? Like, is this a battered wife trying to justify the behaviour of their abuser? I'll let you decide. I thought this was worth pointing out. A lot of observations that can be made here and that are worth paying attention to. Let me know what you think. Especially if you're the people involved. Especially if you're one of the people that Melkor said also got the axe, because that'll be interesting. Alright, thanks for watching everyone. See you next time. Long live Shogun 2. If you like my work and want to show your support, I have a Patreon. Special thanks to Matteo Olivetti, Nerdington, The Roadie 451, Halcyon, Robert Sparks, and Dake.